Hi, it's Maria from Women into Wellness. In this video, I'm going to be sharing with you 5 really simple tips to help you establish a self-nurturing wellness and well-being plan and get that embedded into your life so that you can start to see benefits as you move forward. So welcome to my channel, Women into Wellness. This is where I provide you with tools, tips and strategies pertaining to movement, nutrition, mindfulness and lifestyle to help you maximize your potential for wellness and well-being. So let's get started. The first one of these is going to be to make sure you start to take it seriously and set an actual schedule for the me time that you're going to need to put into place any of your wellness and well-being practices. Now, this is so important because you need to actually treat it as if it's a doctor's appointment or a work commitment or a social engagement that you absolutely cannot miss. And that's why it's non-negotiable me time. So it needs to go down in your diary, in your Google Calendar. Pop it on your schedule, because if you don't, then trust me, it's probably likely it's going to be one of the first things that slips off of your to-do list when time gets a bit busy, because we often start to prioritize things other than ourselves when we are pressed for time. Now, wellness is so important, your health and your well-being, that this is why it deserves this focus, and this is why it deserves to have this place in your schedule. Because if you think about it, it can affect so many different aspects of your life, from your health, from your mental state, your emotional sense of well-being, right through to how you're looking aesthetically, how well you can perform physically, and not only that, but the sense of respect and self-care and love that you have for yourself. So start to treat it as something so important that you cannot miss it, and give it that important place in your schedule and your diary. Number 2 is to really take the time to sit down and get honest with yourself and think about what are your wellness and well-being goals. This is so important because we've got a lot of information out there that's being thrown at us from all different directions. A lot of us probably have a good idea about what creates a healthier lifestyle. So we know we should be exercising and moving more. We should be eating cleaner. We should have some form of stress management or mindfulness in our life. But what's important is to really then take these and look at how they are going to affect your life and what's going to best serve you at any one time. So for example, you may be someone that has quite an active day job, and it maybe you get a lot of physical activity, but your nutrition is not on point because you are really rushed. Well, in that case, you're going to make your number 1 goal perhaps to focus on cleaning up your nutrition and creating nutrient-dense, really tasty food or a meal plan for yourself. It might be that you are overstressed, you have too many stresses in your life, and so you're going to perhaps want to focus on mindfulness, doing some sort of mindful activity or creating a toolkit of stress management strategies that you can draw upon to help either lower or in effect counterbalance any stress that is in your life. So it's really about looking at what's out there, looking at what the advice is, but then having the time to think through what are these goals and how they can apply to you to best fit your life. And I would suggest that you start with just having 3 goals to begin with and no more than that, because you don't want to make it overwhelming. So what you want to do with this one is do a little bit of research, see what the suggestions are out there in terms of how much you should be moving your body, in terms of what you should be eating, how you can manage stress, but think most importantly about how it's best going to serve you, and then start to set your goals. Now, another thing I will add about setting your wellness and well-being goals that's really important is it's all good and well to just say, for example, I want to be stronger, or I want to lose some fat, or I want to feel less stressed, but to really create the goals and to create the motivation and the momentum that's going to help you make long-term lifestyle changes so that you see results, there is a more in-depth step that you need to take with goal setting. And this is that you need to dig deep and need to find out what your intrinsic drivers are. What is the reason behind why you think it's a good idea and why you need to start moving more, eating more healthily, or doing meditation. And if you want more information on this, then there are loads of videos that I've got on my channel that's all about goal setting, and it will take you through some of those vital aspects that are going to really empower you forward, help you make the commitments that you need to, and take the steps going forward so that you start to see results, so that you can reap the benefits from any lifestyle changes you put in place to maximize your potential to achieve those goals. Number 3 is that you want to make it easy for yourself by drawing upon any resources that you're going to need to make lifestyle changes or put in place new practices or new habits. Now, as we've already spoken about, you will have refined and defined what goals serve you best. So I will give you some general examples here, in that if your goal is to move more and do more exercise, then you really need to start thinking about what is it you're going to need to do, the type of exercise, the modality of exercise that you love, that you are perhaps going to stick to. And I might add here that you might try something and think it's not for you and then pick something else. That's absolutely fine. But to begin with, you want to think about what are you going to need. So at bare minimum, you might need a bit of space in your home or in a garden or in a public place that you can access to do some exercise. Or you might need access to a cycling route or a nice countryside walk if you've decided to do either of those modalities. And if it's something that, like, you're doing home workouts, then you're going to need some basic equipment, perhaps at bare minimum an exercise mat. There's so many different body weight exercises and workouts you can do, so you don't need a big budget to do this by any means. But if you want to get into something like doing some strength training that's more than body weight, or you want to get into kettlebell workouts or using resistance bands, then you're going to need to gather the gear that you need in order to do that. Now, I know, as I've just mentioned, that also there is the factor of thinking, what can you afford to bring into your life and the type of exercise you're going to enjoy. So if you find that you're looking up equipment, and at the moment we've had this pandemic going on, exercise equipment has gone through the roof in terms of prices. Certain things are still cheap, like resistance bands, but however, things like weights, dumbbell sets, the prices have really shot up above what they should be at the moment. Then I want you to think about if there's a swap you can do with somebody. Can you borrow someone's exercise equipment? Is there something you're not using that you could sell to get the equipment you need? Or, like I said, find the cheap and free options. Start off with some body weight strength training, start off with some HIIT exercises, and start getting those fully embedded first, so that you don't have to worry too much about resources. But at the bare minimum, you need a safe space to exercise in. You need your comfortable workout gear that's non-restrictive and that's going to allow you to move, and probably an exercise mat as well. Now, if one of your wellness being goals is to clean up your nutrition, then what are the resources you're going to need? You're going to need the healthy food. You're going to need to know what the healthy foods are that you need to eat. It might be that you want to start looking up some recipes for free online. You might want to invest in getting a cookbook or ask for one if you've got a birthday or something coming up soon. You really want to make sure, though, that you get in place all the things that are going to start making the journey easier for you. Gather them, put them in a place where they're easily accessible, so that you don't have the excuse of thinking, oh, I don't have what I need today, I'll do it next week, I'll start next time. Make it something that is totally accessible to you, so that once you've decided what you're going to do, you can just forge ahead with momentum and commitment. The next one is that you're going to want to review your progress. So we've said that you've got to schedule this time. You've started doing it. You've chosen what your goals are going to be. You've got all your gear or your equipment that you need, and you're starting to move forward. You want to review it perhaps every 4 to 6 weeks to see how it's going. Now, you may quite quickly find out that something is not working for you, or it exacerbates an old problem if you're doing movement, or perhaps some style of meditation that you've chosen is just not gelling or clicking with you. Well, the good news is there are lots of other different options you can try. So if something doesn't quite work, don't use that as an excuse to give up or think this is not for me. You know, I don't want to do meditation, or mindfulness doesn't work for me. Then start to think and be a problem solver. What else is it that you can do that is going to get you the results that you need? And if you think about movement, there are hundreds of different types of movement patterns or modalities and styles of exercise that you can do. that might be equipment based or non-equipment based, that might be recreational or group sport, solo, so much out there. In terms of nutrition, there's so many different types of food that you can eat. Generally, you're going to want to be eating clean and wholesome for this, but there's lots of different recipes that you can try, different combinations, different ways of batch cooking or cooking your food to make it easier. And in terms of doing things like stress management, there are so many tools out there. There's a plethora of tools that range from something as simple, free and easy as doing breathing exercises to doing things like guided meditations where you can get these free off the internet or invest in someone's program, right through to doing things like yoga or moving meditation. There's so much out there that you can use, but you need to make sure that whatever you're using is working for you, but give it time. So if you've embedded a new practice, give it a couple of weeks before you then review whether it's working or not. Now, what I will add is that if your goal was physical in terms of, for example, losing weight, putting on muscle mass, then you do really want to make sure you're giving it that first 4 to 6 weeks to see if there is any change in your level of fitness, any change in, for example, your body circumference measurements, or the percentage of body fat that you have before you make a decision to change something. And like I said, don't let it be an excuse for quitting if something isn't right for you or if it hasn't quite worked. Use it as a reason to compel you forward, to solve the problem, to find something else that's going to be a benefit and to keep you moving forwards. And my fifth and final one is to recognize the small wins. Now, often when we're thinking about wellness and well-being, we might have these huge lofty goals. It might be that you want to, go and do a triathlon this summer. It might be that you want to be able to lose 2 stone. It might be that you want to completely overhaul your eating and go from being an omnivore or a carnivore to being vegan. But however, what I'm going to suggest here is the big goal is super important, but what is more important and that what is going to help you progress forward and find results is by breaking down that goal into smaller, manageable, bite-sized steps. Now, this means that you start to set yourself mini goals within that larger overall goal so that you can actually see progress, because sometimes the huge goal is so far out of sight or it requires so much work or a certain amount of time, we can become a bit jaded, we can become a bit disheartened when we don't reach it quickly. So breaking it down into these smaller parts allows you to make quick wins. Now, a good example of this, for example, is weight loss. And I could talk about weight loss versus fat loss all day long, but let's go with weight loss because it's a term a lot of us do use. So weight loss, when you're thinking about it, you're thinking perhaps you want to lose 15 pounds. Now, 15 pounds is manageable, but it does depend on what your time scale is. It depends on what your level of commitment is and how many changes, lifestyle changes you are willing to put into place and adhere to see that result come about. Now, what makes it a lot easier is if you break that down into more manageable steps by saying that you are going to follow the general guideline to try and aim to lose 1 to 2 pounds per week. So this now makes it a lot easier. All you're looking at from week to week is to get that 1 to 2 pounds. That will soon then add up to the point where you have lost your 14 pounds. And then from there on, you may have a new goal that you put in place that's your next priority goal. You may need to lose a bit more, or you're then looking at maintaining that goal weight. So break it down, make it easier for yourself to achieve the small wins, and most importantly, celebrate those small wins. It is so important to recognize them, because once we get tied up in thinking of the big goal, the 15 pounds, and we don't recognize that perhaps you're getting stronger, you've got more stamina, you can move your body faster and quicker, you're more athletic, you're looking fantastic, everything is looking more tightened and toned, and your athletic ability and performance has increased, rather than just focusing on what it's saying, for example, on a weighing scale. So break it down, celebrate the wins, but I will add, any celebration or reward you give yourself really has to be in line with your overall goal. For example, weight loss, if your goal is to lose weight, your celebration is not going to be that you're going to have a blowout and eat 10 donuts when you've lost that 1 to 2 pounds, because it's not going to support your goal, right? So think about that, it's super important. So there you go, you have my 5 tips as to how to establish a self-nurturing plan that is going to focus on well-being and wellness aspects to help you really embed this into your life and start to move forward. So first of all, you really want to think about scheduling that non-negotiable time in for your wellness practices. You want to think about defining and refining your goals and knowing why you want to achieve those goals so that you can access the motivation. Allocate, collate and gather all of the resources that you need, whether that is equipment, whether that is space, whether it's some sort of workout gear, a particular type of food or nutritional supplement. And then you also want to review it regularly to see what's working for you, make changes if you need to, when you need to, and not let any lack of progression or any sidestepping that you need to do be a reason to quit. So keep moving forward. And then finally, make sure that you celebrate all of your small wins by breaking those goals down into small bite-sized steps and recognizing your wins every step of the way. So I hope you found this helpful in helping you kickstart or having a think about what you're going to put in place for yourself. As I said, if you would like more tips on setting goals for yourself, check out my videos because I have a lot on here about goal setting that's going to help you through that process. If you found anything of value in the video, then please go ahead, give me a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe and click that bell so that you don't miss out on any future videos. And please go ahead and share the link so that others can benefit. Thanks for watching, and until next time, I wish you well.